What about resumes? What is it that you need in a resume? The number one mistake that they do is the order of the experience that they keep in the resume or the order of their educational background. What happens is if you put 10 on the topmost and bring up engineering at the bottommost, system may not read engineering to be your latest degree. System might read your education to be 10. In the same manner, even your work experience. Let's say you worked with ABC when you started off, and then now you're working with XYZ, and then you keep ABC on the top. System reads your recent experience as ABC. XYZ is considered as your previous experience. Now, this is why chronological order in a resume is so important. Maybe 10 years back, we only had those textual resumes where resumes used to be full of text. And even then, recruiters had the time to look through and read through the resumes back in those days. Now, over the years, we know how we have been digitalized. We do not believe in spending more than a minute in a resume, not even a minute. In just 20 seconds for a resume is what we want to spend. Don't take me wrong. Yeah, that's a fact. We mostly what we do is we just skim through the resume. I don't think any HR would be interested in reading through a resume. They would read through the resume only when they develop an interest towards the person in the resume. This is why it is so important that you build your resume with the key points, with the things that can really highlight your experience and your exposure. Now, when there are about 10 bullet points, as a reader, you would read the first one, the second one, the third one. You would skip the rest, and then you would go to the maybe the middle one. Then you would go to the bottommost. You're not going to sit and read the whole 10. And if the first two or three are catchy enough and really interesting, that kind of develops an interest in the reader of your resume, the recruiter is obviously going to read through the rest of your resume with more interest. Now, this is why keywords are important. This is why it is so important to categorize or to prioritize your bullets in such a manner that it creates that interest and the curiosity in the interviewer when he or she is looking at your resume. Now, let's say you have kind of got into a job, and then after a couple of years, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years, you kind of see when you're picking up a job the first time, you really some people have a focus that I want to get into a particular function. Some people do not have a focus; they kind of get into any job that they get because the first job, everybody goes and picks up the first job. They just go grab the job and they say, "Oh well, getting jobs is pretty difficult in these tough times. So let me go pick up any job that I get. It's okay." So now let's say you picked up the job, and then in about a year or 2 or 3 years, you've decided to pursue a particular function. Now we have different functions where you can work for. HR is a function, finance is a function, operations is a function, development is a function, program management is a function, quality is a function, customer experience can become another function, training can become another function. Now, let's say whatever function that you want to choose. Now, let's say you've had experience in the last 3 years in a particular function. Now, when you make your resume should have more of the functional words. The reason is the more the functional words, the better the chances that you have on your resume to be pulled up and recognized by the system. The system reads the words which are fed by the recruiter into the system from the JD. Now, if your resume has those key words which are related to the function that you're working in, the system will recognize your resume to be the most relevant one, and your resume will be picked up for a review by the interviewer or by the recruiter. Now, this is where a functional resume plays a major role. Now, I've told you that resumes are of different kinds, different types. Now, mostly people come and ask me, like, how many pages of resume is considered to be good enough, or is there an industry standard? Well, I believe in the past we've always recommended two-page resumes. But of late, when resumes have become more visual, with more of graphics, infographics into the resume, now resumes can be of one page as well. But if you have a resume which is a textual one, it is better to keep a resume with two pages. Now, and you can also have a mix of both the infographics or the visual resume with the textual resume. You can probably keep your first page with the visuals and the second page with the textual information in case you want to. Now, I believe the standard that we expect is a two-page resume or a one-page resume based on the kind of experience that you have. Now, people kind of say, well, what if I have 25 years of experience? Well, if you're skilled enough and if you have the expertise, you can bring down your resume in two pages. This is where resume builders come into picture. People are skilled enough to make resumes, and even if you have 30 years of experience, your resume can still be made into two pages with all the information packed into it. And I'm not talking about clustering your resume with all kinds of information. I'm talking about arranging your resume using infographics with all the experience that you gained in the last 30 years. And that's where resume builders play a major role. And then you can talk to me how to build your resume. Let's say you have 25 years of experience and you want to build your resume into two pages, making it look really impressive and creating that curiosity in the reader or in the recruiter to look for and to read your resume. I can help you with that. All right, I think that's good enough now. I'll be back with more tips